Stick to the Plan podcast. Michigan's elite political podcast is about to begin, live from the birthplace of the Republican Party. Let's gather under the oaks like our forefathers did. Now more than ever, it's time to stick to the plan.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Monday, another Stick to the Plan podcast day. I'm here with Russ. Let's pull him up.
Hey, Kevin, how you doing today?
Not too bad. Pops, how you doing, sir?
I like it. We're pretty much on time today.
I know. It's crazy.
And we were screwing around talking, too. I was a little worried that maybe we'd be late like normal, but we're on it. You sent me the new intro song yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where my head. I just half listening. Yeah, that's fine. And but I kind of like it.
Yeah, I like it.
I like the music part.
Yeah.
And I like the words that are said in the lyrics, but I somewhat question the sound of the lyrics, but I love the music part.
There's a couple bumps in the AI that's like, it's just being weird.
But I like it. That's the best one so far.
Yeah.
You know, I love our
We'll keep
original.
playing with it.
I love our original. Stolen off the internet one.
Well, and that was royalty free, but there's no lyrics.
Right. But no, I like that.
Yeah.
We can live with that one. That's for sure.
We'll keep playing with it. As I come up with them, we'll just.
Yeah. You hit a home run with the intro song with Hits Home Jackson.
I know. Oh, I got
like,
lucky.
bam, there it was.
I got lucky.
Yeah, you did. That was your first one ever, too.
Second one, but yeah.
Oh.
I mean, the first one was for my show, but.
So,
anyways. Sorry.
So we're do you have another Hits Home Jackson scheduled?
Yes.
Oh,
Thursday.
For this Thursday.
Yeah, we skipped last week and we did this week because we did the No Kings thing.
Oh, okay. Before. Now, it's been relatively quiet in county and city politics, but here's the news since the last Hits Home Jackson episode. Jackson Public School Board former Vice President Derek Dobies has been removed from his position in leadership on the board. And they also voted to where he can't hold a leadership position ever again.
Ever?
But so what people got to realize, that board can't remove him from the board. He is an elected position. There are talks of recall efforts. I don't know the term school board terms screw me up. By the way, jxngop.org, we just posted the information of every elected position in the county, and it's massive. That's school boards, that's villages, townships, county, everything. It's on there. But I might be wrong here. Derek's term is until 2028.
I don't know.
That's a long time to deal with a guy like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've been dealing with him for a lot longer than that.
We have, and I applaud the efforts of everybody. Will Hastings, many people. It is a perfect example of activism, engaging the people, and getting them to voice their concerns, whether in email or in person, and get something done on something corrupt.
Exactly. It can be done. You mean one person doing the work can get things done.
They did a wonderful job. Here's the thing. Derek ain't going nowhere.
No. Well,
they hate it when I say that.
Honestly, I like him up in front, right in front of us, more than because he's just going to go in the background. And
you're right.
He's going to be a puppet master.
And then I think Will made mention somewhere on somebody on one of them pages said something about, we have a feeling he's going to run for state house or state senate. I thought that last time.
real quick, so I don't mean to interrupt. I want to thank our good buddy JJ just rated the stream from his show. So that means
all right, good.
sending people over to say hi to us. Tweety and Goofy Boots and all them. All of my degenerate friends are here today.
All right, I'm glad you got fans, Kevin.
I know, right? This show would be terrible.
I know it.
It already is.
All right, just a little bit of good news on the corrupt political figure in Jackson, Michigan. My point here is don't stop. Always fight the good fight. Don't stop.
Mhm.
But I've been trying to remove this guy for a decade. Long before any of the rest of these people,
Yeah.
I was involved with trying to get rid of this guy. He is good at what he does.
Oh yeah. No. He
is good at what he
is
does.
Great. And just to answer a question, Carrie, I didn't mention you because you never come to my show anymore. But anyways, we do have a guest today.
Yes,
But before we get to that, I have something special. Yeah, last week was Father's Day.
Yep.
And the mail fucked me. But it's okay. So I have your Father's Day gift, but there's more than that. So what I got here is, and I should have took them out of these baggies, but because they're a pain in the ass. A couple gold coins, but they're special gold coins.
I like gold coins.
Because on the back, we'll go here. I don't know if you guys can see them. They're imprinted with the Trump assassination attempt, fight.
Oh, nice.
So these
Super
are for
cool.
you, Pops. Happy Father's Day.
Well, thank you, Kevin.
Plus, there's a Trump membership.
You know,
thing there.
no,
one is for you if you want to give the other one away. I'm donating one to the show, and then I'm donating two to the JXN GOP.
Oh, okay,
for
cool.
whatever you guys would like to do with
All
it.
right.
That's all I had.
You know, I'm getting quite a little collection of these. You know, my good buddy Jeff Kirkpatrick gave me an inauguration gold coin a while back,
Yeah.
like out of the blue. You know,
Oh yeah, I saw
he's a weird guy.
He gave Bruce one too.
Yeah, but it's really cool. I had it in my pocket for weeks. So thank you very much. That's
Oh yeah,
very
no
cool.
problem. And like I said, the one thing is kind of
I
cool.
like that.
It's like a membership. Like
Yeah.
it says like Trump membership, MAGA membership or some shit. I don't know. It came with it all. So I figured that would be a cool Father's. That's why I had to run to the car.
Oh, okay. All right, great.
Yeah,
I like that.
They sent me like 10 of those, so I'm like, I'm just gonna give them. What am I gonna do with them?
I like those.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to make a little dealy display for them.
Yeah.
We
Make a
are
manager.
streaming live on the Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. I was just double checking the streams. It looks like we're all on all three.
So we went out on a big push to get that
Yes.
crest that 100 followers thing, and no one really gave a shit. We were increasing a little bit, and then I don't know, right, Friday or something, you threw something at me, and I threw it on my personal page.
Yeah.
And then John Smith got a hold of it, and you said Alex from A1 Waste got a hold of it.
Yep.
And I woke up Saturday morning with 102 followers, and
Yep.
it grew from there.
I think we're at 116 or 118 right now.
That's badass. So normally I would, after the stream, share it from YouTube or Rumble to Facebook.
Yeah, now you can just
Now
share
it's
it right-
there.
It's there. You can share it from Facebook.
And you know, all the old people that might tune in because of me,
yeah,
two of them, none of them, whatever.
Yeah.
That they're Facebook people.
yeah, or yeah, there'll be people. Grandma Patty will see it on her Facebook feed. You know, she's scrolling.
Oh, you know she is. She's either she's probably not working too hard in the yard today, the heat.
Oh, it's so
But
hot.
she
out.
still does. She was out yesterday. She's going to do something.
Grandma Betty's been out with her walker and shit.
Oh yeah.
Doing shit.
So in 5 minutes, we do have a guest today.
Mhm.
It's Jacky Eubanks from Michigan Fair Elections Institute. Kevin, I have never personally met her.
Okay.
I've heard the name. She does wonderful, wonderful things for Michigan Fair Elections. But there's an initiative in Michigan to bring in ranked choice voting, which is the shadiest way to vote. I think it's hugely detrimental to our voting system.
Mhm.
And she's going to come on here and explain everything. There's a couple people out hitting podcasts talking about this. I think Jacky did the best I've ever seen explaining it. Maybe a month. Well, it was the week before Memorial Day. She was on Michigan Matters podcast by my buddy Mark Fortin, and she did a wonderful job explaining it. And I watched it then. I go, I got to get a hold of that, whoever that is. I kept forgetting her name. It's Jacky Eubanks.
Yep.
And then out of the blue, my phone rings and it's her. My buddy Mark Fortin she goes, Mark Fortin, give me your name and number. I said, I was about ready to call Mark. I want to get a hold of you. So I think it was Wednesday or so. I knew that we had a guest. And this could be one of the most important informational streams we've done on Stick the Plane podcast.
I have to agree. I came in undereducated on it. You gave me the elevator pitch, and it's kind of what I thought it was. And Roy Rat said in the chat too, ranked choice voting is terrible.
So somehow they sell this to.
Oh, they have it in California as well.
No, they turned it down in California.
Oh, Tweety says we have it in California.
Newsom wouldn't sign it.
Oh,
that's what Jacky exposed. That
really?
Of all people, Newsom wasn't. There's state senate in House were, but Newsom wouldn't even do it.
That means that he didn't have 51%.
He was afraid wouldn't get the 51%.
Yeah, exactly.
It's real. It's an attempt to meddle in our elections, man.
Yeah, we're worried about foreign collusion and foreign interruption. This is domestic,
and this is so dependent on machines.
Yeah,
she'll talk about that, or at least I'll ask. The machines are already capable about doing ranked choice voting. They just flick a switch in the machines. Now, I'm not like some. I'm not super paranoid about the machines stealing elections. Okay, right. Some, and I don't blame them. I think there was other ways in 2020, especially, that they meddled into our elections, actually stole them. I don't think it was so much in the machines, but I don't know why each precinct doesn't have poll workers just hand count precinct by precinct the votes. I don't get it.
Well,
each precinct in Michigan has 3,000 people.
Yeah, they should figure that out. Well, and honestly, do you know what makes me nervous? I think you grazed over it, maybe not noticed it. The reason I don't like the machines is that they already programmed these to do ranked choice. If all you have to do is flip a switch.
They're already there.
That means.
So if you go to ranked choice voting, there's no opportunity ever not to use the machines. You would have to, because humans wouldn't be able to do it properly. And Jacky's going to explain that really well to us today.
Absolutely.
And she's supposed to jump on here about 2:15. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to it. I watched that particular stream with Michigan Matters right prior to Memorial Day. I watched it again today, and I wrote down some questions. And maybe, Kevin, not brushing up on it could be beneficial.
Yeah, I think so. I want to hear what she has to say and kind of form my own opinion upon that.
Yeah.
Like I normally do.
Yeah.
Come in, completely unprepared and figure it out.
Something prior to.
By the way, we have 50 people watching right now.
All right. Prior to the stream starting, and we got sidetracked in a different conversation, Michigan is a purple state. Okay. Uh-huh. Let's say they were successful at eventually making ranked choice voting how we vote in Michigan. Let's say this happens.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Couldn't Republicans use it to their advantage also? Could it be a two-way street here?
It could be. I mean, yeah.
I'm not saying I want this. Yeah. Not at all. It sounds terrible.
And real quick, before Jacky jumps on, let's make a couple bucks and read a Rumble thing here.
Okay.
I would shoot over there, but I wasn't prepared. I didn't expect all these people. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Guys, hey, so you still haven't tried 1775 coffee? Here's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped only 1,000 units. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits harder than a CNN fact check, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality mushroom coffee for clean energy, laser focus, and no crash.
Vitality mushroom coffee.
I know. It's actually really good. All single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. Plus, you're also going to get a gold spoon clip because Freedom isn't scooped with plastic. A frother strong enough to stir your coffee and your mother-in-law's political opinions. And the black 1775 tumbler that says, I don't take advice from caffeine, or I don't take advice or caffeine from a woke sea witch. $170 worth of coffee and gear. Only $99. This is for the ones that
only $99?
$99. That's like almost half off, right? It's for the ones watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Well, spoiler, it is. So go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something, just like Rumble does. Start your day with coffee that actually backs what you believe. 1775 coffee.
So that's like Freedom Coffee.
Yeah, it's owned by Rumble. We by the way, we just made $2.
Sweet.
Fuck yeah. As long as they approve it, which they usually do.
Sweet.
Pea berries.
There's
no more pea berries.
there's another like a Patriot base.
There's
coffee out there.
There's a veteran owned one. The Black Flag or something Flag coffee.
Yeah, you were close. I almost
is it Black
had
Flag. I don't think it's Black.
I don't think it's Black Flag,
but
either.
Something like that.
We were close.
And then there's another one that I think it's
1776. So Freedom Coffee is a popular thing on Freedom platforms, right?
Well, yeah, all it is. I'm sure that it's just white label coffee that they just slap a name on it.
Well, I don't know. I watched a commercial. They pick their own beans.
Yeah,
in a special part of Colombia,
and they put them in a
white, or whatever.
They put them in a white label bag, and then they put your name on it.
Yeah,
it's not like Chris Bloflowski.
I'm a Folgers dark roast guy. I didn't drink coffee in the morning until 20 years ago.
Right,
and I'm almost 60.
I think Jacky just jumped on. Let me get her set up. Go ahead as I get her.
I used to drink Diet Pepsi in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm a coffee guy. Yeah. Two large cups.
Jacky, if you can hear me, Rumble Studio is a little bit different. Make sure at the bottom of your screen, hit the microphone and the camera button. They should have slashes through them. That will put you right on the stream with us. Anyways, hopefully we get her on there and figure it out. Oh, there she is. Awesome. Can you hear us?
I'll put the audio.
All right. Well, that's okay. I'll get it.
We're fixing it.
Oh, she's mute. You're still muted, Jacky. There we go. There we are.
So, Jacky, I'm Russ Jennings, by the way, chairman of the Jackson County Republican Party, and this is my son, Kevin.
Hello.
We've done this political podcast on our own. It is not a Jackson GOP podcast. It is a Russ and Kevin podcast. And we were just talking before you jumped on. I have never met you before. I know a lot of people in the state that do this. I've never met you. I did see you on Michigan Matters with Mark Fortin, and I brushed up today a little bit. So one of these days we will meet. We might have ran across. Depends. I'm everywhere. So, anyways, good to have you on the stream today. We were talking before you jumped on. We've had a lot of guests on here, state house reps, state senator. The list goes on and on. This could be one of the most important informational streams, I think, that we've discussed.
I agree, and I'm so happy that this is the highest live viewed stream we've ever had.
Oh, so people are interested.
Yeah, I mean, we're down to 40, which happens, but it's better than 3.
Jacky, we've had 3. Yeah, before.
It's 0, lots of zeros.
So, Jacky is from Michigan Fair Elections Institute, right?
Yep, and its sister organization is Pure Integrity Michigan Elections, which is a 501c4, and Michigan Fair Elections is a 501c3. And the reason why I have to distinguish between the two is there are things I can say that are educational, and then there are things that would be considered like political action. So if we're going to talk political action, that's under Pure Integrity Michigan Elections. If it's purely educational, it's under Michigan Fair Elections.
So you being with both organizations, the way you just explained that, you're pretty much free then to talk about what you got to talk about, right?
Yeah, and I'm happy to talk about things, I can say, for example, in my own opinion or in my personal capacity as an individual separate from the organization. So that kind of gives me some leeway. I'm no stranger to nonprofit and 501c4 laws at this point. I've worked enough campaigns, enough nonprofits to know.
Yeah, I've learned that myself. I completely understand. I don't get it, but I get it. So, ranked choice voting is coming at us. I'm going to let you explain, set the table here for us. I did write down some questions. In one, I want to get out when you go back to the Michigan Matters stream. I think it was the week leading into Memorial Day. Mm-hmm. Apparently, they didn't get their wording passed through the Michigan Board of Canvassers because that's coming up on the 27th, isn't it? Maybe you can bring us up to date on that.
Yeah, so we've been following pretty closely what the organization Rank My Vote is up to. Rank MI Vote is the name of the organization. They're the ones who are putting on this ballot initiative that would, if it gets enough signatures as a petition, would then put as a ballot proposal the constitutional amendment to change Michigan's elections to ranked choice voting. So they are going to present their 100-word summary to the Board of State Canvassers this Friday, June 27th at 9 a.m. at the Binsfield office, room 1100. If anybody listening is interested in attending and making a public comment. So what I can say is that ranked choice voting would be a disaster for Michigan and Michigan's elections. It's already been tried in states like Alaska and Maine. Repeal efforts are underway. It's a terrible, terrible system that was tried in several cities throughout the country, and it was thrown out. Like Oakland, California, for example, had so many problems with it. Burlington, Vermont threw it out after trying it. Arlington, Virginia threw it out after trying it. And I'm hearing rumors, I can't confirm, but I'm hearing rumors that there's going to be problems with the upcoming New York City elections because of it.
I believe
So
it.
it's a terrible system. What it does is, rather than the way it's always been since our founders wrote the Constitution, even before, when we were colonies and we had state legislatures even back then, it's always been one person, one vote. You go, you look at the ballot, and you pick the one candidate that you want to win, and whoever gets the most votes, whichever candidate gets the most votes, wins.
Right.
But with ranked choice voting, the way it operates is that each seat, so each race, all candidates for that seat, you would be encouraged to rank them in order of preference from favorite to least favorite. So if there's 20 candidates running for city council, that means you're going to have to go through that list of 20 candidates and put them in order on the ballot of which ones you want the most to the one that you want the least. And if you fail to rank all candidates in a given race, there is a strong chance that through the counting rounds, your ballot will be discarded. Now, what do I mean by counting rounds? A candidate cannot be declared winner in ranked choice voting until that candidate has received more than 50% first choice votes. But when you have that many candidates and you're ranking all of them, it's very, very rare that on the first go around, any candidate breaks 50%.
Right.
It's very rare. So what they do instead is they take whoever got the least amount of first choice votes, eliminate that candidate, and go on to round two. And what they then have to do, and it's all done by the tabulator machine. We are completely relying on the tabulator machines to do this. People are not doing this. There is no hand count. It's all done by the computer, the algorithm, the software. What the software then does is goes back to the ballots of the people who put that eliminated candidate as their first choice, then looks at their ballot and picks their second choice candidate to receive their first choice vote. And then the new results come. And if there's still nobody who cracked more than 50%, 51%, then they do it again. They eliminate the bottom scoring candidate, go back to the ballots of the people who put that candidate as their first choice, and then reallocate the votes to the second choice candidate, and on and on and on. And there are cases in which this takes up to 15 rounds, 10 to 15 rounds of counting. Mm-hmm. It takes up to 2 weeks to find out who actually won. It ends up getting litigated because there's so much confusion as to whether or not it was calculated properly. Right, and right. In many cases, so many ballots get discarded because people don't rank all the candidates. So if your candidate gets eliminated and you didn't rank anybody else, then your candidate is discarded, or your ballot is discarded rather. Mm-hmm. And so you will see in the total of the number of votes versus the total number of ballots, there's always more ballots in the ballot box than there are votes for the candidates, because inevitably votes get thrown out. And so at the end, you're looking at up to a 27% discard rate. In cities like New York, I believe it was 2021. I want to say it was 2021, the New York City Council race, 650 ballots did not appear in the final total of the election results. And it took 10 rounds of eliminating and recounting to figure out who won.
Unbelievable. Jacky, if I could see this coming, if there's 10, even five, especially 10 or 20 candidates.
Yeah, I was thinking a lot of candidates, like a school board race.
People are going to walk into the voting booth with maybe knowledge of 3 of them. And so all the rest is going to be random, check the boxes in no particular order in their mind, because they don't want their ballot to be discarded.
Right.
So it's not a true vote. There's no way possible, unless you're a political junkie like myself, to know everything about every single candidate on that
And then
ballot.
are even a political junkie, are you going to spend 15, 20 minutes going through and making sure that all your rankings are correct?
Well, what if there's a candidate that you absolutely do not align with, whether it's morally, whatever? I wouldn't want to put my vote, even if it's in last place, to that particular candidate. I don't want to vote for that candidate for whatever reason there is. That's ridiculous to me.
Exactly. And then you run the risk of having your ballot thrown out throughout the
If
multiple
you don't.
rounds of recounting. And then it doesn't count at all. And then your voice was eliminated. And I can understand a lot of people having that concern. I myself am a very staunch pro-lifer. I cannot in good conscience vote for a candidate that is pro-abortion. And so I would be faced with a moral dilemma where I look at the ballot and go, I can only vote for pro-life candidates. If there's one, maybe two, I can't vote for the rest of the candidates that are pro-choice. And if my candidate gets eliminated within the first one or two rounds, then my vote is discarded, and I did not have a say in who got elected at that point.
That's a great example.
Yeah, actually, that puts it in a lot of perspective.
That is a great example. Also, too, what do you think is the intent of this organization for even attempting to do this? Where do you think it really comes from?
So I can tell you that I looked into their financial records. They received a sizable donation from an organization called Fair Vote. Fair Vote is a pretty progressive organization out of DC. The reason I say progressive is because this organization advocates for abolishing the Electoral College, which is extremely progressive. That is not conservative at all, because the Electoral College was enshrined in the Constitution by our founders to protect states that have smaller populations from getting just railroaded by the most populated states like California and New York, and never having a vote, never having a say in our elections.
Yeah.
So this organization that wants to abolish the Electoral College is donating to Rank My Vote to get this passed in our legislature. So out-of-state money is coming in to impact Michiganders' right to vote.
Oh.
Jacky, I asked in the beginning, so did this organization not get their ballot language approved prior to Memorial Day? Is that and is that why they're doing it Friday? Because wasn't there an attempt at that then?
Yeah, they had been saying in their internal emails, meaning you can sign up for their email list and they'll send you their weekly updates. And so you can see what they're communicating to their supporters, their volunteers. They had been saying that they were going to launch their petition drive on Memorial Day. However, when the State Board of Canvassers meeting for May came around, they were not on the agenda.
Oh.
And they did not attend the hearing. So I can't say for certain what happened. My presumption would be that maybe they were working on the language of that 100-word summary with attorneys or whoever to make sure it seemed ironclad enough to actually pass the Board of State Canvassers, which is why they've, since pushed it back. We know for a fact that it's going to be on this week's agenda. We know for a fact that they have been saying in their internal emails they're going to begin circulating their ballot proposal petition on 4th of July. So Independence Day will be their launch day this time. So it has been pushed back, which is good for us because it gives us the opportunity as citizens of Michigan to make a public comment at the hearing. You can submit one via email to the Board of State Canvassers, or you can show up in person at 9 a.m. to give a 2 3-minute max public comment on the language, the 100-word summary, and whether or not it's transparent or misleading, whether or not it's clear or it's obfuscated. So we have that opportunity to tell the Board of State Canvassers that there are problems with this language, that it is misleading to signers.
Is there a place that we as just civilians can review that language?
So it's actually very difficult to find. I had to track it down through photographs that they posted online where they're holding the petition and you have to zoom in really close and see what the language says. But we do have it posted on pureintegritymichiganelections.org.
Oh,
if you go to pureintegritymichiganelections.org, we do have a call to action news article, blog post on our website that contains that 100-word summary and some of the critiques that anybody can make about the language.
So, by the way, there is a group from Jackson that'll be there Friday. So the timing of you calling me and arranging this and me thinking about it at the same time plays in perfect. There is a group from Jackson that are going to go up there. I've been through this before over the years, and it's to help support language and help not support language. It's difficult to stay. Remember, the Board of Canvassers is looking at flaws in the language. You want to talk about how your personal feeling is how this would be a terrible thing for Michigan, and I get that. That's great, but you got to want to stay focused at the language that's been submitted. You got to remember your intent here is to convince the Board of Canvassers, which isn't easy to do when you're one of us, that this language isn't clear, isn't in the voters' best interest. It's misleading, which all ballot initiatives lately have all been very misleading. And where do you think their sales pitch on this is? Where do you think they're going to get people convinced that this is the right thing to do? Where do you think that's at?
Great question.
I know one of the arguments they've been making is that it's a kinder way to vote. They even had merch for sale at one point that said "Make elections kind again." Their argument is that because you're not voting for only one candidate, you're voting for all of the candidates in a race, that it's going to lead to candidates being nicer to each other. Yeah, exactly. It's more inclusive, and they also pitch it as
takes over.
Yeah. What's interesting is they try to pitch it as no matter what, you get a candidate that you voted for. Obviously, assuming that you voted for all of the candidates in your ranked order on the ballot. What they're saying is no matter who gets elected, you did in fact vote for one of those candidates. You in fact voted for all of the candidates. So whoever wins, somebody you voted for got elected. But here's the issue. In many elections, the person who got the most first choice votes loses to somebody who got less first choice votes overall. And I can explain a perfect scenario where this happened.
Yep.
In the state of Alaska, you had running for U.S. Senate, you had Kelly Tshibaka, who is the MAGA Trump-endorsed candidate. You had Lisa Murkowski, who is well known as an establishment rhino type. And I say rhino not loosely. I do mean it as Republican.
No, I don't use the word rhino loosely, but we can label her as that.
Right. She is a Republican in name only based on her voting record. She votes with the Democrats probably more often than the Republicans, and she claims to be a party member. Then you had the Democrat candidate. And so everybody knows that Alaska is a solid red state. It is majority Republican. But what ended up happening is that in ranked choice voting in Alaska, Kelly Tshibaka got the most first choice votes, but she did not get more than 50%. So what happened? The Democrats, their candidate got eliminated because that candidate got the least amount of first choice votes. So then what happened? When you go to second round of counting, you go back to the Democrat ballots because their first choice candidate was eliminated. Their second choice was Rhino Lisa Murkowski. So because of the displacement of votes to their second choice candidate, Lisa Murkowski won, even though she got less first choice votes than Kelly Tshibaka. And
the third place votes went to the person, the next person above that person, which
exactly
right.
So you're giving more voting power to people than others, and that's completely unfair. The people who put Kelly Tshibaka as their first choice candidate, that was it. That was the end of their voice. That was the end of their vote. But then you gave the Democrats twice the voting power because their candidate was eliminated, so they got a second time. Basically, they got a second chance to vote. So they got multiple choices, whereas the person who picked their first choice and their first choice went on to the final round only got one vote.
That right there, when I reviewed your presentation on Michigan Matters from a while back, that right there was just amazing to me, that the votes that the person that's been eliminated goes to the person above them that got, that's amazing to me. That right there is what really clinches the deal. And that's why I ask about the sales pitch. Of course, I don't know how they're going to sell this, but then again, I'm often amazed at how the left or some people, I think they're going to try to pitch this to the middle, that it's a fair way to vote. We're going to be curious on what their messaging is going to be.
Well, I can tell you in their 100-word summary, they're trying to appeal to conservatives. They're trying to appeal to Trump supporters who maybe had questions about the 2020 election. How do I know this? Because in the 100-word summary, they say that you have not only a constitutional amendment that would enshrine the right to rank candidates based on preference or something like this. They say ranked candidates, but then they don't give any specifics on the ranking process. But below that, beneath all of that, they have the right to paper ballots, the right to an audit, the right to have the ballots stored for up to 2 years after the election. And those are all things that conservatives, election integrity patriots, those of us who have been concerned about election integrity issues would look at and say, well, that's a good thing. Shouldn't we support this? And the reason why they do that is they're trying to appeal to as many people as possible by making something that would fundamentally transform our elections for the worse sound good to people who maybe don't understand what ranked choice voting would actually do to our state. So conservatives, election integrity activists, patriots, anybody concerned about the ballots being stored for 2 years after the election, who are concerned about hand counts, who are concerned about audits, do not fall for it. They have it in the 100-word summary, but that's not what this constitutional amendment is ultimately about. It is absolutely ultimately about instituting ranked choice voting as the new voting method for the state.
Jacky, how would this, as far as you know, how would this work in primaries, or would primaries stay the same? Would this only be for general elections or for primaries? And primaries is a big question because, Republican primaries, for example, have way too many candidates for governor. So where does it land there? Is it for both?
So in the 100-word summary, they do mention the right to have a primary 140 days before the general election. However, we are concerned about jungle primaries. Jungle primaries are a serious issue because what it would lead to is all of the candidates would be, again, just like ranked choice voting has you rank all of your candidates on one ballot. It would allow people from other parties to influence the outcome of their opposing party's electoral results. So basically what it's doing is it's giving Democrats the right to vote in Republican primaries and pick whoever the Republican nominee will be moving on to the general. And vice versa, of course. I'm sure Democrats do not want Republicans voting in the Democrat primary to pick what Democrat moves on to the general. So this is a serious problem.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we worry about that often anyhow in our primary system. Democrats voting in Republican primaries to potentially elevate in their mind, the worst candidate to win right, to go into the general against their person. That's talked about a lot.
Well, that's just competition. I mean, why wouldn't they? And why wouldn't we? If everyone, I think everyone should vote in every primary. I mean, you shouldn't do it nefariously like that. But I mean,
I know Republicans don't want to waste their vote, so we normally don't do that on the flip side. But we don't underestimate what the other side might be doing to influence our primaries.
Well, a good example is my grandmother. You noticed it. You brought it up to me. She's voted in every primary, Republican, Democrat. It doesn't matter. Every primary for probably as long as she's been alive. And she's very liberal. No, I don't think she did it nefariously. She voted for the Republican that she could, that she wanted. But I mean,
I don't know if that's a strategy they use or not. I'm sure they do.
I'm sure they do.
Jacky, as far as Friday, State Board of Canvassers encouraging people to get up there to speak out about this language. If it is approved, of course, this organization is going to hit the streets to gather over 500,000 signatures. That's what has to happen. I don't know the exact number.
It's about 600,000.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
a lot.
Right. They're going to hit the streets for that. I'm going to encourage everybody, decline to sign. I heard you guys say that. I like that one. Decline to sign.
That's a good one.
And I'm going to tell you something. When you're at festivals or something like that and you run across these people circulating petitions, sometimes it's easier just to sign the darn thing so they go away. And I'm going to ask not to do that. Never sign a petition unless you know what you're signing.
Amen.
A person formerly in my life did this for a company. She got paid well. and she would hit festivals, and she was aggressive at getting signatures because you got paid per signature.
Yep.
And
that should be illegal.
I know.
Right.
I know.
I mean, they came at Elon about the whole $1 million giveaway thing for joining his PAC, but paying per signature.
Well, and any side can do that, and candidates do it a lot,
right? But I'm saying is
to get on the ballot.
I'm saying what Elon did. That makes sense to me. But pay per signature. What's stopping that person to giving you? Say you get $10. I don't know what it is. $10 a signature. What's stopping that person from giving you $5 to sign that petition?
Yeah,
that's buying elections, if you ask me.
I know Eris got a lot of signatures. She was a hustler,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even remember that. This is 20 years ago. She didn't care what the initiative was. She was out selling it.
Oh, hell yeah, if you get paid for it.
Yeah. So if this ballot language is approved Friday, you told me on the phone that you think that they're going to send out groups of people probably at the rest areas in Michigan during the 4th of July weekend, because they're going to be packed full of people
good weekend for that.
to obtain signatures.
Yes.
You're going to come to Jackson here. I wrote it down Thursday, right?
It was next Monday.
Next Monday. I'm sorry. I got an event Thursday.
That's okay.
So next Monday you'll be here because you're trying to get in front of as many people as you can to counter and provide information to encourage people not to sign the petition if they're out at the rest areas over 4th of July weekend, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And so part of what I've been doing for the last several months is an educational initiative just to alert the public about this. I want to make sure people know what's coming down the pike so they know not to sign this once it shows up in their face when they're out and about at these parades, these fairs, these festivals. If they're, stopping to grab lunch or use the bathroom on the way up or down from the, going up north or coming back downstate. Yeah. And we also have put together palm cards, and we're going to try to get the palm cards in the hand of volunteers who are interested in handing them out at these rest areas, at these fairs, at these festivals. If you have a booth, you have a table, you can hand these out. They're purely educational, okay? So there's no way of violating any kind of election law or 501c3, 501c4 law, purely educational. So when people are circulating these petitions and you see general members of the public being approached, going up, about to sign, what you can do is you can't prevent them from signing. But what you can say is, hey, before you sign this, may I offer you some informational literature so that you are well informed about what you're about to put your signature on. And so the hope is that by offering them the opportunity to learn about what they're about to sign, they'll make an informed decision. And hopefully through the education that we're doing, people will come to realize that this is a really big mistake and this would be terrible for our state. It's already been banned in 17 states outright. 17 states in America have already outlawed by their state legislature and their governor ranked choice voting, including Gavin Newsom, which is what's crazy. So in the state of California, their state legislature actually passed it through the House and Senate. And when Governor Newsom was supposed to sign it into law, he declined. He vetoed. He said, no, I'm not signing ranked choice voting into law in California. And Donald Trump, President Trump, at his 100-day celebration rally in Macomb County said, we must never allow ranked choice voting. That's a direct quote. So it's strange how both some of the most popular candidates of both parties, Donald Trump being our very popular president, and Gavin Newsom, unfortunately, being a pretty popular Democrat potential nominee for the presidential race in 2028. Both of them do not want this. So this is a bipartisan issue that Democrats and Republicans can agree is bad for our country and bad for our states.
We were talking about that earlier, and I think with Newsom, I'm wondering if he didn't think he would get that 51%. And so he would eventually lose. I mean, that's the first thing that pops in my head because he doesn't do anything that doesn't help him.
He didn't decline to sign out of goodness. He did it because he's afraid it's going to bite him in the ass somewhere down the line too. I did mention that, Jacky. I'm gonna pray that this doesn't get anywhere. But I thought about some people. They got to understand how I think. This is a purple state, and God forbid that this were to make it to a ballot and pass. I would assume that there's going to be a lot of lawsuits from that. But I often wonder if that's not a risk on them, because say you're a Republican, you would adjust to the strategy like they need to adjust to the strategy.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not trying to find a silver lining, but I like when you brought up Newsom. In his mind, he's like, well, that's a strategy that they could embrace also. So I do wonder if that exists.
I don't like the fact that there are strategies that we could embrace to manipulate elections. Why
do we need a strategy? You go and vote.
Yeah, you say, "Oh, I vote for this guy." That's it. That makes sense to me.
So, additionally, too, you mentioned something about 4th of July and 4th of July festivals. This group of people, paid or not paid, it could be just volunteers, it could be both. If I could see them being at rest areas, but I could also see them being at 4th of July parades.
Absolutely. I'm sure they will be. I have no doubt in my mind, because they're just going to go where the general public is. We know how these petition initiatives work. They'll go to fairs and festivals and parades. They'll go to rest stops. They'll go to farmers markets. They'll be outside major supermarkets. That's what they're going to target. And so we just need to be vigilant in knowing where they're going to be, anticipating where they're going to be, and then being there too to hand out our literature to make sure that our message is being heard just as much as theirs is.
If a person can't, that is the great thing to encourage, and hopefully people will come out to help in that effort. But if a person can't make it that far, boy, if you can get a hold of some of that literature and start educating people, because you're going to be at your little town's 4th of July, would be extremely helpful. Also, just prepare people that, hey, that in the coming weeks or days, you could encounter this.
Absolutely. I look at it as a scary thing, because I didn't know anything about this until this morning. I mean, I had heard about it, but I didn't know, I would have declined to sign. But a lot of people, like you said, they'll just sign. It's like giving homeless people change. They're going to keep asking for it. Just go away. Here.
You're right about that. I do know people that will just sign so they don't have to tell a person no.
Yep.
I've circulated petitions,
and unfortunately, this is going to appeal to those people, like you said. The add kindness to it. Like, why voting isn't about necessarily kindness? It's about picking the right person. And sorry, people have to lose in an election. There has to be, if there's to be a winner, there has to be a loser.
Yeah.
And so being kind, it's not really a kind process.
It's the inclusion thing.
Yeah, everybody, it's a participation trophy. Everyone gets a trophy.
Yeah. Jacky, I think if this were to if they were to get the signatures and end up on the ballot, I think there's good grounds for a lawsuit, because according to our state's constitution, in order to change election laws, it's supposed to be done through the state legislature. And matter of fact, my favorite state senator, Jonathan Lindsay, and I think it was State House Rep Steve Cara, 6 months ago, filed some sort of suit in reference to that. But I don't think it ever got where it needed to go. Do you know anything about that?
I can tell you that there was a similar lawsuit, I believe, in the state of Illinois, and it's now made its way to the Supreme Court. We're waiting on a Supreme Court ruling. Essentially, what the ruling is that if your state constitution says that election laws can only be created, modified, changed, amended by the state legislature, and then you have a ballot initiative that gets passed in referendum by the voting public that changes election law, which one actually stands? Because you're violating the Constitution by putting it in the hands of the general public instead of keeping it in the hands of the state legislature. So we're waiting a ruling right now from the U.S. Supreme Court to find out what they decide, what stands. Is it really, according to the Constitution, in the state legislature's hands, or is it absolutely okay to violate the state constitution as long as it's done in referendum on a general election ballot? So we don't know what that result will be. But I do think at this point, it's a totally valid move for people who are concerned about this to call their representative and tell their representative that they would like legislation drafted that would make ranked choice voting illegal. We could be state number 18 to ban it outright before it gets through the ballot proposal process.
Would be great.
That'd be ideal.
And then it would be forced into a lawsuit if it passed it via referendum in the general election of 2026. So you have every right as a citizen to call your representative and ask that they create a bill that would make it illegal ahead of time. And based on
Nip it in the bud.
this is purely hearsay. Okay, I cannot verify that this is true, but I know someone who spoke directly to Jocelyn Benson about this very issue, trying to find what her opinion was on it. Now, she's the Secretary of State and she's running for governor, or I don't know if she's officially launched her governor's race, but she's going to run for governor. This is what we all know.
Right.
And she was asked, what do you think of ranked choice voting? And she basically gave a non-answer, which is, I can see the pros, I can see the cons. I'm neither for nor against.
That's an answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. No answer.
Also, too, and I guess this would be the same with this. And my wife, this drives my wife crazy. I'm always a Plan B guy. I am. Me and Kevin both are.
We don't stick to the plan very well. We always have other plans just in case.
We do. We have a podcast called Stick to the Plan, but our life operates on Plan B way too often.
It's not Stick to Plan A podcast. It's Stick to Plan.
But let's say this ballot initiative, they get the signatures, it gets on the ballot, and then it gets approved by the voters. Our state legislature has an opportunity with ballot initiatives like that to take them, change them. I forget how that works. Is that opportunity, which wouldn't be good with our state legislature, I couldn't imagine, but does that opportunity still exist if this particular ballot initiative was passed by the voters?
I really can't say for certain. That's a very difficult call. I know that in the past, when a ballot initiative has passed by the voters in the general election, and then it's made into a constitutional amendment, the state legislature has passed bills in support of, instead of limiting or rejecting parts of the constitutional amendment. Yeah. So I guess I couldn't say for certain. I know they do pass bills that seem to buttress those constitutional amendments. I don't know about anything that would limit it.
I want to tell, there will be a lot of Jackson listeners on this, and Jacky will be in Jackson Monday, the 30th at 6:00, right here in the Jackson GOP headquarters. By the way, if you've not seen the Jackson GOP headquarters, you're going to walk away and say, that's the best GOP headquarters I've ever seen. We have the best
podcast studio for sure.
We do. We have an amazing, we're lucky. We're very blessed that we have a very beautiful place for events, and it's free to attend. Just show up. It's informational. Jacky or somebody, and well, I hope it's you, Jacky. We'll be here to explain this in person, take questions in person, and to hopefully recruit people to get out on the 4th of July to rest areas or wherever it is. And I guess you guys probably will have a pretty good feel of where you think signature collectors will be. Or are we just going to guess that, Jackson County has, I think, 2 rest areas on Interstate 94. You're going to assume there's going to be a lot of them there. But then there's probably some rest areas around the state where nobody's there. I don't know. 4th of July, they're all busy. Well,
I don't want to give too many of our trade secrets away, but
good point.
we have ways of finding out where they're going to be, and hopefully they'll keep doing what they're doing so we can stay on top of it. That's kind of been our blessing this time around. With all these ballot proposals, we're never ahead of the curve. We're always behind the 8 ball. But this time, somehow, we've managed to get ahead of the curve here, and we're keeping track of what they're doing, where they're going. And so hopefully we'll be able to stay ahead of that. But I do want to say there is a way for people who maybe are not able to join us in passing out literature, who are not able to join us in attending the Board of State Canvassers meeting. You can be a social media warrior. You can text all of your family and friends and warn them ahead of time, don't sign this. That is so easy and so simple. I'm sure just about everybody at this point has Facebook, or they have X, or any other number. Maybe you have Signal, or you use Telegram and you're in Telegram chats or Signal chats. You can send out the message to all of your contacts. Do not sign this petition. You have the right to tell people, post on Facebook, put it out there, put it in your little community group page on Facebook and say, hey, beware of petition circulators who want you to sign the Rank My Vote petition. This is what it's going to mean for our state. And go be that voice. It's very easy. You can do it from your phone, sitting on the couch in your living room.
Jacky, I want to thank you and both organizations for being ahead of the curve on this as much as you can. We often are always reactive instead of proactive, and I think you guys are as ahead of the curve as we possibly could be on something that I think is very important. So thank you very much. I wanted to add to that. and this is just being I'm in my second term as chairman. Prior to that, I was the treasurer. I don't know how I made it this long in leadership in a GOP. It is not easy. But in 22, we had tons of people run to the county GOPs. And that's because they were mad at the 2020 election results. So the next opportunity, out of desperation, they flocked to the GOPs because they really thought they need to get involved and do something. And we had an influx of precinct delegates, which is always welcome. But that was the reason why. They didn't know where to turn. And then that's when these both groups here and others started formulating, because you take a Jackson GOP, we were not designed to fight election integrity issues. We could be supportive of them and this and that, but we were not prepared. We're not designed to do so. And the election integrity organizations that popped up gave them a place to fight those battles. And I'm so thankful for that. People like you, I take it this is your wheelhouse and something you've done for a while?
Somehow I got involved in election integrity, like at this point 5 years ago on accident. I just happened to be a clerk's office elections worker.
Oh.
I'd been doing that for 3 summers when I was in college. It was like my summer job to help facilitate the local primary election. When I say local, I mean down at my local township office. I would help facilitate the primary election by being a full-time election staffer, receiving the absentee ballots, handling the absentee ballot applications, doing the training of the poll workers, for example. I even helped write the manual on how to use the tabulator machines in my township when we got them in 2018. That was the first year that we switched over to these high-tech electronic voting machines that later became somewhat of a controversial issue.
Yeah.
But it was in 2020, interestingly enough. I'd been through 3 elections at that point, and I started noticing that we were getting envelopes that were return addressed to the Secretary of State in Lansing. When you opened up the envelope, it was full of absentee ballot applications for all different people. But the issue is that the signatures did not match the signatures on file, and the handwriting all looked like it was made by the same person. And I remember lining them up on the table and telling my supervisor, the elections coordinator, I said, look at this. Look at this. The signatures do not match what's on file for that voter. And it looks like the same person filled these all out. The handwriting is identical across the board. And I said, I don't feel comfortable sending them ballots because first of all, the signatures do not match. It was like you have a 90-year-old woman and the handwriting looks like a teenage girl. And to me, that screams an activist filled this out for somebody. Mm-hmm. And I later found out that when Jocelyn Benson did that mass mail out of absentee ballot applications back in May of 2020, using COVID as the guise, COVID means everybody gets an absentee ballot application this year. The return address on that envelope she sent out was P.O. Box 30330, Lansing, Michigan, which is suspicious in and of itself because 30330 was Joe Biden's text alert code. So what are the odds that that was the P.O. Box number? But
that one is weird.
Regardless,
that up.
It was very strange. But regardless, that means that all of those absentee ballot applications that were returned to sender went to that one central location. Fast forward to me sitting in the clerk's office receiving envelopes from Secretary of State with all of these absentee ballot applications whose signatures did not match what was on file. And Benson just happened to say this election cycle, we're suspending the signature verification requirements. I'm going, this seems like some kind of coordinated effort. This seems suspicious. And I was basically told direct quote, told to stop sleuthing, end quote.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for, a lot of people said, oh, okay. Thank you for not doing that. That did bring up something you just talked about, absentee ballots. So in Michigan with early voting and absentee, and as Republicans, with a lot of pushback in the last election cycle, we started encouraging AV voting, applying for your absentee, and that was a strategy which worked out well. As much as I wish we didn't have it, we had to convince people to embrace the strategy because that's how Democrats were beating us.
It exists. You might as well use it.
Yeah, and so how is ranked choice voting going to work? So I'm a township trustee, and my clerk has said before that if a ballot comes in the mail to the township office, an absentee ballot, and it's wrong, there's nothing they can really do about it being wrong. If you screw up in person, there's an opportunity to fix your ballot. So the suggestion was, although I got a mother that put it in the mail, I get it, but my suggestion was to get an AV, fill it out, and then take it personally to your clerk, because it might be able. But I could see ranked choice voting if my clerk's already in my small township is already having problems with invalid ballots because of the mail-ins. What's this going to do with ranked choice voting? There's going to be a lot of ballots, especially in the beginning, that aren't going to be any good.
Correct. It's a serious concern, especially for the elderly, the disabled, English as second language voters,
Sure.
because what's going to end up happening is, I'll just use my grandma as an example. My grandma is 95. She's in a wheelchair, so she does use the absentee ballot. She votes by mail. So you're expecting a woman who's voted one way for decades and decades and decades, more than 50 years she's been voting. You're expecting her on a dime to look at a brand new ballot and know how to rank the votes properly. There's no way. There's just statistically no way she's going to be able to do it correctly. She's not going to have the voter education necessary. It's going to be very confusing for her because she's done it one way her entire life. And so then she's going to mail in her ballot, and at the absentee ballot counting board, they're going to open it up and say, well, this is not marked correctly. She made mistakes. She accidentally filled out 2 candidates in the first choice category or something like this. But there's no way to fix it. There's no way to correct it. So at that point, her ballot is discarded. It's a spoiled ballot. It's null and void. It doesn't count for anything. It will not show up in the results. So her voice has essentially been silenced. So this is a civil rights issue. This is actually a civil rights issue.
That's remarkable. I'm glad we brought that up before we cut you loose. That's really remarkable. And my mother isn't that old, but she's elderly, and she never voted in her life till I ran for county commission in 2016. And now she doesn't miss anything. Number one, the reason why she doesn't miss anything is I'm on her, but she discovered absentee ballot. Okay. And I also want to take a personal side to this. Even me, who knows who I'm going to vote for. By the way, I don't do AV. I still go in person. I love to go vote. Although I'll encourage people to do this, I love to go vote. I'm not going to miss it. But you get a little bit of anxiousness in when you go to the polls to vote, and I'm a prepared voter. I think that there's a lot of people who are going to say, "Yeah, I'm not even going to do this." I know that's going to happen.
Oh,
yes, it discouraged voters so much that in Alaska, once they implemented it, voter turnout dropped to its lowest rate in Alaskan history. It dropped to 44%.
Wow.
Yes,
that's
it's hard enough to get people to vote. To change the game and make it more difficult, it's going to be catastrophic. That's another remarkable issue there. I just know it will be.
Catastrophic for some and very victorious for others, unfortunately. And I think the victorious ones are the nefarious ones, the ones that are trying to manipulate the election.
I think it is a form to manipulate somehow.
Oh, absolutely.
It isn't in good intentions by no means. I really don't think so. So, Jacky, thank you for popping on today. I like the way you explain it. I'm looking forward to you coming next Monday here to the Jackson GOP and explaining it. Now, when you do in person, and you said you and some others are going around in person, are you bringing literature with you to prepare people? How's that going to work out? I mean, are we we'll know Friday. Well, if the Board of Canvassers meets on Friday, there won't be an immediate decision. It would be the language is approved. It might be the following. How long does it take before the Board of the Canvassers to make a ruling if language is approved? Do you know?
It's my understanding, and I could be wrong, but it's my understanding it's usually announced by the end of the meeting. But the meeting can take hours.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah. So there have been times when it's lasted until 3 PM. So we'll probably know on Friday, but it could be later in the day.
there's a high probability when you visit Jackson on Monday, we will know. Okay.
Yes.
That's where I'm getting at. And then is that, by the way, I talked to you on the phone. I have got a superstar door knocker, encounter voters person. She is amazing. And the Trump Force 47, she was a top door knocker in the state often. But she's picky about her things that she wants to, do for. She's choosy. And when I brought this up to her, she doesn't jump right on things. She was quiet. And she says to me, okay, Russ. And it was like 2 days later, she texts me, hey, when's that girl coming for Michigan fair elections? She's all about it. Right. So I hope there's a good response. There's another political group here in Jackson that operates on their own. They're a wonderful group, and it looks like they're attending. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's you. If it's somebody else, that's fine too. I think Jackson's got some warriors out there that help go fight this if we can explain it to them correctly. So thank you.
I appreciate it. And we'll try to run a mock ranked choice voting election. I'll be sure to bring some ballots with me, and we'll test it out
we
for
love that.
I like that a lot.
we love that. We really do. And we're always, and I do this, not for you, but I'm always trying to sell the Jackson GOP and our beautiful facilities. So it's worth coming to check it out.
It is.
All right, Jacky, I guess if you can stick around and be our guest to the end of the show if you want,
and if you don't mind, I actually have a couple of things for you, Jacky.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin. I was going to cut him off.
I was just letting you go. Let him cook. And it's kind of going back to a couple of things we talked about, but one thing I brought up to Russ earlier is he said that these voting machines are already set up just to flip a switch to go into ranked choice voting, correct?
That's what they tell us. The Rank My Vote people are saying that the machines in Michigan, the tabulators, are already programmed to do ranked choice voting, that we just need to switch the software over from one to the other.
That is terrifying to me because that means that they already anticipated this, which opens a whole nother door and window to conspiracy, I suppose, but for fraud, because that means that we already don't trust these machines in a lot of ways. A lot of people don't, at least, and the fact that they're like, oh, well, we know this is going to happen. That tells you something kind of weird to me. The other question was pretty simple. The chat had brought up too, before you even mentioned it, or while you were mentioning it, about shadowing petitioners, which is awesome that that's the best way to educate people. But is there a way for people to obtain this information if they can't make it to one of your events or your planned things? Like if I wanted a handful of the palm cards or something, is that the same website, the Pure Integrity Michigan Elections?
So I would recommend for resources, you can always go to a website that has been put together to help with this initiative. It's called rcvalert.org. I don't think it's quite finished yet. I just was looking over it, submitted a list of edits to a website designer who had been working with us on a volunteer basis to put this together. And this was actually it was a gift to us to help with the Palm Card initiative. Okay. So the palm cards that we'll be handing out will have a QR code to link to this website to offer more information for people. Mm-hmm. And there will be, and I have to verify that the web designer who voluntarily did this to help out actually put the volunteer sign up form on that website, but there will be a volunteer sign up form. So if you want palm cards, you just fill out that form and we'll get in touch with you to get that literature to you. Mm-hmm. And, you're always welcome to send an email to me. My email is Jacky, Jacky, @mifairelections.org. And I'm happy to help work with you if you want to be a volunteer with us and pass out this educational literature.
The Monroe County, the current just elected Monroe County Republican chairman, and he's also the 5th district chairman, Todd Gilman, right before the show reached out, hey, how do you get a hold of that Jacky Eubanks? So if he hasn't called you yet, be prepared for that.
And I'll put your email as well as the Pure Integrity Michigan elections.org, right, in the description for anyone that wants it watching the show right now.
Perfect.
I'm glad I forgot. I almost had another darn question. See, there's too many questions.
There's always too many questions.
There's too many questions.
Yeah.
Why are we going to change something? I think it's going to be a nightmare if this ever gets anywhere.
My boss, who we both know and we both respect, he said it to me in a completely different issue, obviously. But if it ain't broke, why do I try to fix it?
He says that all the time.
It's just trying to mud up the whole situation.
He's a very successful Jackson businessman,
Yes,
and his philosophy, he's got two of them. It's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission.
It's easier to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission.
Yeah, and also, if it ain't broke, then we ain't fixing it.
No.
So, right. But our elections are kind of broke, but
Yeah,
this definitely isn't going to fix it.
Well, no, and things like this is why they're broke, is because there's always now these new caveats, these new things, and it's like, why you just vote for one person, they win. Whoever gets the most votes wins.
So do you think this would also affect local races, or do you think this would be state above? Are we talking ranked choice voting at a township level, county commission level?
Yeah, there are already a couple of cities in the state of Michigan that have opted to do ranked choice voting. Now, it's not legal based on the state election law, the state constitution, the Michigan legislature's election laws don't allow for it. But there have been cities that have said, once it gets legal, or if it gets legal, we would like to implement it immediately, and we're in favor of it. That would be cities like, I believe, Royal Oak, Ann Arbor, Kalamazoo. I think East Lansing maybe also.
Sure.
There's a couple. East Point was another one. There's a couple of them.
So that if unfortunately this were to pass and became our deal, that the locals would have to opt in to do it, is what you're saying?
Yeah, this would specifically be for the state level based on the 100-word summary. If you're just going based on the 100-word summary, they did say for statewide races that would include governor, for example. But yes, local cities absolutely would be able to opt in.
I would definitely say all Jackson County clerks would not be down with this.
I don't see them.
In the Jackson County clerk, she's not down with this.
No, I don't
no
foresee
way.
that.
There's no way. Our city clerk,
I still though I don't.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Kevin, you got anything else? I don't want to cut him off this time.
Nothing important.
Jackie, you got anything else?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, I think this was great. Like I said, this could have been one of the most important issues we've talked about on this podcast, and
like
we've been doing it a year and a half. We've had some cool issues on here,
and
though.
I'm glad that this has been the highest live viewed show we've had, and I think it's very it was a very important issue for that to happen.
Jackie, that means we should make you a permanent host on the show or something.
You can take my spot.
Okay, nothing left. We'll see you in Jackson, 6:00, Monday the 30th at the Jackson GOP headquarters. That's at 209 East Washington. I'll text this all to you, Suite 320. So I'll text you that so you know how to get here. I don't think I've done that yet, have I?
No, not yet. That's okay, though.
I'll make sure you know. Thank you, Jackie, for popping on.
Thank you, Jackie. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good day. Wow. Lots of information there. And
she does great.
Yeah, for the first time. I mean, there's been a lot of things going on that we've had people on. They've explained it well, and they left, and I went, I still confused.
Unfortunately, we're good hosts, but oftentimes we'll let them explain, and then we get scattery on a lot of questions, and we probably did that a little bit today. But I think everybody did really, really well. I like it when questions come up at the end that were probably the most relevant questions to the whole interview.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that I said it was very informative. But my point I was making is, like, when we've had guests on and they left, and I'm like, I still don't really know how I feel about the issue. Her leaving us now, I feel satisfied. I'm like, oh, okay, that all makes sense to me. Like, normally time constraints don't help.
So there's others out explaining it. The podcast Livingston County put out had a person on there, and she did a good job. but I'd seen Jacky like days prior, and Jacky did a wonderful job on Michigan Matters podcast.
And she answers the questions very well.
Yeah.
And, she answers them politically. I know she's got some constraints with her, affiliations,
nonprofit stuff.
But she was able to just say, hey, this is what it is.
I said it to her. I am so grateful for both those organizations, Michigan Fair Elections Institute, and the other one's called PIME, Pure Integrity Michigan Elections or something like that. Anyways, both those organizations, apparently they're one and the same now, but under different nonprofit statuses. They saved the GOPs.
Yeah,
they did. I tried to explain it. We had an influx of people run to the GOPs after 2020, and we weren't prepared to fight election integrity issues. And I had to be kind of I wanted to. I was pissed off the 2020 election also.
Yeah, I think everybody was.
And I wanted to, but most GOPs weren't geared, and I know Jackson wasn't, to even start a election integrity committee on this, and we didn't have the resources.
But that's not your job.
Well, and
your job is to find and elect good Republicans.
I had to revert.
Or
I had to revert back, although people didn't want to hear it. Recruit, train, elect Republicans.
Yeah, you can't fight every battle.
You have to find the Republicans that are going to fight election integrity issues or whatever. As a GOP, you've got people who come to the GOP and are members, want to become members, or have been members a long time, that have multiple or one particular different types of issues. And it could be election integrity. It could be abortion issues. It could be Second Amendment issues and First Amendment issues. My main thing, the reason why I got here was for less government. Everybody's got a reason. And people do need to understand, when you join a GOP, at least Jackson GOP, most of them are like this. Our job is to recruit, train, elect Republicans. And they're like, well, that's not why I'm here. Well, you need to help us find those candidates that fight those issues the best for you.
Right.
There are other organizations, even right here in Jackson, that are more issues oriented. Right. But anyways, these two organizations here saved the day for people to go to help fight election integrity issues, just like right to life is to abortion. They created a situation where you go there,
right?
You go there.
Well, and I mean, you got to think about it. That's the smartest way to do it. Any successful company is going to have that. You don't have the guys that are the salespeople aren't also the ones sending out invoices or dealing with technical issues.
Right.
Typically, you got to, if you give everybody a job, then that's what those other organizations are for. Those other organizations will fight. You can support them and help them, but let them fight the election integrity. You just find good Republicans.
Yeah. Here's the problem.
It makes sense to me, but
here's the problem: finding a candidate that checks every box is darn near impossible.
There's only one Jonathan Lindsay.
I know it. God, can we duplicate like 600 or 1,000 Jonathan Lindsays?
I think that's a little. I don't know if I want 600 of them though. That's
no,
but I mean maybe three or four. And we can loan them out and rent them out to other states. That's good source of revenue.
Almost every candidate will probably check every box that you issue, but they're going to excel in 2 of them 10 boxes.
Yeah, and they're going to be iffy on one, and then be able to be convinced. If they're able to be convinced in a different direction, then they don't check that
box. If their heart's in 2 other issues, then the others will go by the wayside. There's only so much time in a day.
Amen.
You know what I mean? I do that at a township level. It's like, I always think it's little. You got to ask yourself, like, we added a 60-acre park, which means more mowing. And that was my concern from the get-go. And so you got DPW going, they got 3 guys. Hey, we're getting our asses kicked with the lawn mowing here. We got to add another guy. It costs $60,000 a year. for another guy with wages and insurance. And luckily, me and another board member, like, hey, wait, let's look. One, the grass doesn't grow all year round.
No.
And two, there's companies out there that mow lawn. It might be cheaper to sub part of this out.
Right.
I'm not opposed to looking at subbing all of the mowing out.
That and looking at the park and going, that's a big park. Do you have to mow all of it?
So yes.
I mean, I'm just trying to think.
I created more work over the last week on that. I'll
Okay,
tell you here in a minute.
We'll talk about it.
But so right there is the growth of government. We're going to add a fourth DPW guy. Yeah, he's not making decisions. You know what? That's growth of government.
Yeah.
And
instead of supporting an independent business.
So
too.
Buying this beautiful property. By the way, I took advantage of that property this weekend. I beached my boat there and had a great time. And there was people at the picnic tables and people having
a beautiful park.
It was one of the best days I've had there.
It's a beautiful park.
It was great. And they got a state grant. And they got this jungle gym play equipment in there that Kevin, I
haven't seen it since I heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
I wish I was a little kid again.
But I passed by was it Keeley Park, the fairgrounds?
Yeah.
Their little playground equipment's nice in
there. Do you know somebody's donated that?
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll talk about it on his home jacket.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I'll go by there today.
It's nice.
Is it like you can go play on it right now?
Yeah, there was kids on it the other day. They had a porta john and I had to use it. I had an emergency.
Leone Township, the new equipment is installed, but you can't use it yet. There's a state law that says you had to pour a concrete barrier into the ground before you put the wood chips in. And so we're going to fast track that getting poured and get the wood chips in so that the kids can play on it. I did hear on one of the social media pages that, the kids were playing on it anyways.
Yeah, they would be. I mean, it's like,
How can you not?
I drove by Keeley Park and there was nothing. And then the next day I drove by and they're all up and kids are playing on it. I don't think that's enough time for concrete to.
That I'm talking Leone.
I know, but I'm just saying, same idea.
Yeah. I did ask Commissioner Kennedy. Keeley Park isn't open. They've got like business hours. So I'm like,
they changed the gates.
If you're gonna have a park, you got to have access.
I think
you got to have access 6 a.m. to at least 10 p.m. You know.
Yeah. Roy ran in the chat also brought up a good point about training new employees, the cost of training new employees. You're talking about the DPW guy, $60,000, but you got to train him. You've got to,
and then he might not stay.
Yeah, he said, and then add that an employee turnover.
So in DPW does more than mow lawn. They maintain our buildings. We have an older but well maintained township hall. We do have a lot of We have 3 parks now, but one of them is massive.
Yeah.
And
the Lions Park is small.
There's shit to do.
Yeah,
I get it. You got to have a DPW.
Yeah, we have a sewer treatment plant.
Now that's we pay a company separately to maintain.
I thought that was DPW based.
No, maintain that. It's called F&B, and they're a professional outfit that knows about sewer plants.
Oh well, what do you know?
Yeah. Now DPW is located out there. That's where the garage
is. That's why I thought that.
And that's where they probably sit and play cards and eat extended lunches.
And get paid $60,000 a year.
They don't get paid that. It's with benefits. I want to be clear.
But with
that's $60K.
That's a lot of
so there's a lot of lawn mowing companies in Jackson and around. That's huge business. You ever notice everybody gets their lawn mowed by a company now?
There's a very popular Rumble creator that I just found his channel where what he does is he goes around his community and finds overgrown abandoned homes.
I seen that guy.
And makes them nice.
I seen that.
He's got a bajillion followers.
And by the way, he got kicked out of some.
Cops come all the time.
Yeah, because once the township says, hey, you got to mow your stuff, and it goes past the court hearing, even a volunteer can't come and mow it. What the hell are they talking about? If I ever run into that in Leone Township, I will lose my mind.
Oh, absolutely. Why are we wasting an officer to come do this
anyway? I would lose my mind.
And this guy does a great job.
We have heightened ordinances in my mostly rural township now. Kevin, you growing up and in the beginning when I first moved there, they were pretty loose. All right.
They were there. They just weren't enforced.
No. And we do have a guy, a ordinance enforcement guy. He's ex-law enforcement. I love him to death. He's a great, great guy. But he's not me. He's like law enforcement, so he reads the book. It says right here, diddly diddly, and I'm like, yeah, maybe you should leave that one alone until there's a complaint.
Yeah.
Now I do say this though, he is once he gets the process going, if you're open and communicate with him and need more time or anything like that, he's super compassionate with that. I rode with him for a couple hours.
That's the way they should be.
He's a good guy. They're just not out to kill you. But boy, you get some communities that take advantage of the opportunities. It seems like, oh, I would not be happy one bit. So I don't see that coming in my neck of the woods.
No, and I think that's important. It's like, you have to have a guy to enforce it, but you got a little old lady that has a little bit of, a couple broken down cars. She's got nothing. You have to kind of give her a little bit of time and work with her.
My very next door neighbor who, it's
yeah, it's gotten better over there. I've noticed.
Well, her lawnmower broke.
Oh no!
And she said, "My lawnmower broke." Okay, normally she figures that out. Her son comes over, or whatever. She's been working up to the parts store she's been busy. Anyways, it's out of hand.
Yeah.
Oh man, her lawn is bad. I told I was with Grandma Patty today, and she said something. I go, I'm going to have to probably ask her if she wants me to find her a lawnmower somewhere.
Yeah. Well, we have a Matt resource coming back. Maybe if we can just send Matt over there to do there's not much yard.
Oh God, no.
It would take half hour.
It's pretty long though. So she mows with an electric mower.
Yeah.
And that's not going to do it now. She's going to need a real mower. So I don't know. I'll ask her. She's cool.
Yeah.
She's
send
cool
Matt over there maybe.
And it's just a situation, I worry about ticks and stuff, and I got pets and all that. So
mosquitoes.
Geez, are we an hour and a half in already?
We are.
How does that happen?
1 hour, 25 minutes.
How do you do a 1 hour podcast with John Wilson?
Because
I know he's structured.
He's very much okay. That's all of it. That's all we got. Bye, guys.
He doesn't talk about the neighbor's lawnmower.
He's got an agenda. He submits it a week before. And
Star Stripes and Straight Talk with Dave Jones and Chris Baird. They're now. Oh wait, we talked about this. They do an hour and a half, and they do it in segments.
Yeah, they edit.
And he edits.
Yeah.
But you can jump on there, and he has 30-minute podcasts. 30 minutes, intention spans. I get it. I understand. I wholeheartedly do. I don't know. I guess those drop every Sunday and Wednesday, and I haven't caught up. They're usually talking about stuff I already know about. Anyways.
Yeah. Well, me too. I'm like, me and Pops talked about that for half an hour yesterday. I don't need to hear Chris tell me.
So I'm going to set this next conversation up to hopefully be a clip. Okay. Kevin, we've always threatened we're going to do this.
Yes, let's go.
All right. Thursday, June 26th. Right here at the Jackson GOP headquarters in downtown Jackson. Mm-hmm. Turning Point USA. You've heard of that, right?
That one guy.
That's Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk, yeah.
Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA is coming to Jackson to talk to our younger people, younger than me.
Well, Charlie Kirk's not coming, but the organization is.
But Charlie Kirk's Turning Point Action USA is coming here to discuss a Jackson chapter.
I think that's important because your struggles with getting youth, and Charlie Kirk is good at that.
They love him.
Yeah, he's not a youth anymore.
He's
by
not.
The way. He's old now,
but he does good. And so my point here is, we've decided to reach out to parents and grandparents because. Young people aren't looking at my Facebook page.
No, I don't look at your Facebook page.
Grandparents and parents, we need your young people in your families, in the neighbor kid, to come down to the Jackson GOP 6 o'clock on Thursday to discuss a Turning Point USA chapter right here in Jackson. They're buying the pizza. Jackson GOP is going to.
What's the age groups are doing?
I don't know.
Because you told me one point it was like up to 39.
So there's a Michigan version through the Michigan GOP. They're 39 and under.
Okay.
Listen, I think the sweet spot here is 13 to 25.
I agree. Anything under 30, probably. Because if I'm 39, well, I'm 36. If I was now, or if I was 39, I would join the GOP. Why would I want to hang out with a bunch of kids?
Well, okay.
Opinion,
that's what I'm going to talk about with them. So the lady coming, she focuses on high school students,
Okay.
and then there's another person that focuses on college students. I'm like, okay, cool, I get that. I says, know what they're missing with Jackson, Michigan? The 18 to 25-year-old
Yeah.
that isn't enrolled in school and puts on his work boots every single day to go work in one of our manufacturers, pour concrete, roof, that loves Trump and wants to be part of something. And I think there's a category there. And guess what? The ones over 21, Oakland County's got a group. They meet in the bar.
Oh, yeah. Why wouldn't they? I would.
It is what it is. So I really think there's different categories, but our chief of staff, Chris Baird, scoured the Turning Point USA website, and there is a category, I forget what it's called, to include them people. Here's my point. Get down to Jackson GOP, eat some free pizza. Turning Point USA chapter in Jackson.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a
you
huge
know
game changer.
you know there's people out there that have grandchildren that are teenagers or young 20s that they know vote for Trump.
Mhm.
I need them to tell them, get down here.
Yeah, it's
It's
cool.
only going to be an hour.
It's cool to be MAGA now.
It's cool to be MAGA.
Yeah, it used to be like, oh, that boomer stuff, but now it's cool to be
Now
MAGA.
there's a place to hang out with other MAGA people.
Yeah, I mean, of your age group, and I mean, I wish they had that when I was younger, but there wasn't.
There wasn't.
No, there was like young Republican
remember
groups,
that.
but they were not people I would normally hang out with.
I think it's exciting opportunity. Turning Point USA,
I think
Jackson chapter.
I think I'm going to come down just to kind of feel it out and ask some questions myself.
Thursday at
because-
6. Hopefully she asks me where to buy the pizza
Mm.
because I'm gonna pick something good.
Chase, maybe.
Yeah.
Clavon's.
I'm gonna pick something good.
Yeah, something.
You know, we do the Little Caesars thing at our Under the Oak Speaker Series.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
It's all right.
It's a fundraiser. We're trying to make money. This one here is free to attend, and they're buying the pizza, and they got deep pockets.
Yeah, they got money. They got money.
They got deep pockets.
They got money.
I don't know if there's a clip in there or not, but
Well, we can figure it out.
I that's where I want to be. By the way, we're running out of time. That so if I find the clip out of that, Kevin, send it to you. You're gonna have
get
to.
it to me right
You're gonna
away.
have to. Okay, I'll do that this evening.
Yeah, but by the way, I have the clip done. I never sent it to you. I don't think of Kevin Kievsky. I have a clip done for that show, and I never sent it. I don't know why.
You know, I started to and lost track of time, and
I got the one where he talked about his tweets with was it Jacqueline Benson or where he's like,
yeah,
he's like,
remember send that.
and
to
I'm
me.
telling her, my opinion is that she should take a step back and maybe recant some of that information she's putting about. It's super disrespectful. Like it was
We
a good
mostly
one.
want to do that for him. It'd be nice if he used it.
I just remembered it. So
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
We'll knock out some other stuff, right?
yeah, and I've got the Jackson GOP website pulled up. I will show it to the people.
We'll go in order. So Thursday, Turning Point USA, 6:00, Jackson GOP headquarters. Jacky Eubanks from Michigan Fair Elections will be here Monday, the 30th, to talk about ranked choice voting.
Right.
Horrible idea. See, I already screwed up. But every Wednesday, right here at the Jackson GOP headquarters, 11 and 1 o'clock, we partner up with Americans for Prosperity to make phone calls to citizens to encourage them to call Senator Slotkin and Senator Peters to encourage an extension on the Trump tax cuts. And guess what happens at 1 o'clock? They buy us lunch.
Yeah.
They buy us lunch. They've been a great partner, great group to partner with. They really have. And I don't like to be issues oriented here at the Jackson GOP, but they're outstanding issues. I don't like making phone calls either, but you get here in the group, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
You can do it as a group, and you can do it at home.
They've done it right.
That's every Wednesday, and the AFP guys are pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they seem. I mean,
Sean's pretty cool.
I always saw them in passing, but yeah.
You know who everybody likes is Steven Reisner's wife. Why am I forgetting her name? She's gonna be so mad at me. Oh my God.
There's a clip.
There's a clip. She ain't watching anyways.
No, she might watch the clip though if I send it to her.
Billy Reiser. Billy.
We're gonna cut that.
She
one out
works
with
for
clip.
AFP, and she's pretty cool too.
All right.
All right.
That's
So, anyways, Wednesday. See you Wednesday. Thursday, Turning Point USA.
Yep.
Monday,
that's-
Michigan Fair Rally. One more thing.
Mhm.
The July Under the Oak Speaker Series has been booked.
All right.
Candidate for U.S. Senate Mike Rogers will be here for Under the Oak Speaker Series at 6 o'clock.
Yep.
Normal, $12. Get this. If you want VIP access, pictures, whatever the hell you do in the VIP section, we're going to, at 5:15, you can be part of the VIP fundraiser efforts for $50. So for $50, you get the VIP. You also get the Under the Oak Speaker Series. And part of that 50 goes to the Rogers campaign, and the other part, 25, goes to the Jackson GOP. This is a fundraiser for Mike Rogers and the Jackson GOP. We are not endorsing Mike Rogers. It's just I was approached by somebody, hey, let's do this. We both make some money. I said, okay, cool, let's do that. So go to jacksongop.org. It's right there on the screen.
Yes, it is.
We've changed up the UTOS a little bit. There will be a VIP reception.
So
At 5:15.
So before.
Yep.
Okay.
So 5:15, room 301 at the Commonwealth Center down the hall.
Okay.
Go down there, be real nice to this guy. He'll be nice to you, how they do. And at 6 o'clock, you come down here. But you can pay $12 and just do the regular Under the Oak Speaker Series. Either way.
Will there be a Q&A with Mike?
Yes.
For the VIP? That's the question.
Well, there'll be Q&A at the Speaker Series, too. There always
okay.
is. They talk for maybe 20, and then
Right.
it's like 40 minutes of Q&A, and he tells me he'll answer any question you got for him.
Yep. Oh, well,
Let me tell you, there's going to be some people with some questions.
I got some questions.
Yeah, hang on to your britches on that one.
Ooh,
But
buddy.
that's in July. Oh, gosh, Kevin.
Oh, no, what?
Do you know that Jackson is the birthplace of the Republican Party?
I've heard that.
Yes, they are. July 6, 1854 is when this happened. So do you know what happened? We do every July 6th here in Jackson?
I only know that because you've told me.
We meet under the
We
oaks
don't have
on 2nd Street.
We don't have a flyer right now.
So this year, Chris hasn't made it. We just made the
That's
decision.
fine. I was just making sure.
So Sunday, July 6th,
Okay.
2 p.m. 2 p.m., not 1 p.m., 2 p.m.
2 p.m.
Under the oaks. A prayer, pledge of allegiance, eat some cupcakes, hang out with some cool people to celebrate the birth date of the Republican Party right here west of downtown Jackson.
Yeah. I think that I might be down there with the camera just to get some footage because I think it's important for the show.
Next year's better be a blowout, be an election year. I am going to invite...
And that'll be 150 years, right?
No, I screwed that up.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Count on your fingers. But
1854.
This year, matter of fact, I'm glad I reminded myself this evening, I am going to invite Michigan GOP Chairman Jim Rumstead, co-chair, what's her name? And all the vice chairs of the event on the 6th. And we're going to see who shows up and who doesn't.
Yeah, I think that's telling. Very
and
telling.
We're going to talk about the people that showed up and who didn't.
I think it's very telling on who cares.
I know it's the 4th of July weekend.
But it's kind of a big deal.
It's a big deal.
If you're a good Republican, it should be a big deal.
Yeah, I'm up to something.
Yeah. I think I'm catching. What
I
you're
do
throwing.
know who will show up, and it's Mike Farage.
Yeah.
Mike Farage comes everywhere.
Oh well.
I bet the rest stay home.
Well,
we're going to see. We're going to talk about it right here on the show.
We'll figure it out.
So
That'll
see.
be the next day.
Regardless who comes, we always get down there and have some cupcakes and hang out. The park looks great, by the way. New flag.
I went by there.
The city
day.
put a new flag up. I called him on the phone and said, we'll get right on it.
Oh.
I know. I was going to do it myself. I was going to buy a flag and go down there. Oh, no, we'll take care of it. And I guess they have. So, and there's a guy that lives around there, some old dude. He sweeps the park every day.
Nice.
For free.
Yeah, well,
I think we'll give him some cupcakes.
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe we'll give him a Trump coin.
I hope I didn't forget anything anymore.
I don't know. We probably did.
Right.
Guys, hey, make sure you follow this channel if you're not already. Like this stream. Continue to follow our Facebook. It's all down in the description. We're finally live on Facebook, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had people watching on Facebook the entire
Do you think
show.
viewership helped because of that? Or the issue?
Well, actually, the issue I'd like to say, but JJ rating us early put a big group of people into our chat.
I get it.
But they stuck around.
Okay.
So that's huge. And guys, you can always donate to the show. It's right above my head there. At Ko-Fi, ko-fi.com/STTP pod. You can donate to the show, and that usually this means that we're gonna go eat burgers or something. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
But we'll figure it out. So thank you guys.
Thanks
so
for the
much.
gifts, Kevin.
Oh, no problem. Happy Father's Day, even though it's a week late. I blame the mail.
I know you roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do what I do.
I do that.
So everybody have a good one, and we'll be back next Monday. Do we have a guest next Monday?
No.
I don't. We'll
No.
we'll figure it out like we always do.
Something will happen.
Not a big deal. So with that being said, anything else from you, Pops?
That's it, man.
All right, let me pull this up real quick. And for those that are wondering, I missed a lot of shows last week with the Grandma's Boy podcast. I will be back as my full run of shows this week, including the Hits Home Jackson show. We will be back this week as well. So,
Okay.
all right, let's get out of here. Boop.
Welcome to the Stick to the Plan podcast. Michigan's elite political podcast is about to begin, live from the birthplace of the Republican Party.